You know that feeling, right? You get a great idea for an app, but then you remember you don't know how to code. Well, what if you could just skip all that? What if you could just describe it and have it appear? We're going to dive into that because a new tool from Google is making that more real than ever.
So that's the big question, isn't it? The idea that you can take a thought, just a simple description, and turn it into a working application. I mean, that's not science fiction anymore. It's a concept that could completely flip the script on who gets to be a creator in the world of software. And the answer to that question, well, it's a new tool called Google Opal. It comes from Google's experimental workshop, Google Labs, and it lets you build these little mini AI apps. But here's the key. You don't use lines of code. You just use plain English. It's a totally different approach to building things. Now, Opal is tapping into this bigger trend that people are starting to call vibe coding. And I gotta say, I love that term. The idea is that we're moving away from super rigid line-by-line programming and more towards just describing the function, the feel, the vibe of what you want your software to do. This is the world that Opal was born into. Okay, so how does it actually work? I mean, how do you really go from just typing a sentence to having a shareable app? Let's get into the nuts and bolts.
It's really this simple, just 3 steps. First, you describe what you want. You write a prompt like, "Make me an app that generates a cover letter." Then, Opal does its magic and creates a visual workflow. You can actually see the logic laid out. And finally, you just hit share, 1 click, and your app is live. It's an incredibly direct path from an idea in your head to something people can actually use.
But what if that first draft isn't perfect? This is where Opal gets really clever. You've got 2 ways to tweak your app. You can just talk to it, using what they call conversational edits. You could just type, "Hey, add a step to translate the final result into Spanish." Or, if you want to get your hands dirty, you can jump into the visual editor and start dragging and dropping the different parts of the workflow yourself. It gives you both simplicity and control.
And you don't have to start from a blank page, which is great. Opal has this whole gallery of pre-built templates for common stuff, like summarizing long articles or generating ideas for social media posts. The really cool part is you can remix any of them. You take something someone else built, tweak it for your own needs, and you're good to go. You can see they're really trying to build a community here where everyone shares and builds on each other's work.
All right, this all sounds pretty amazing, maybe a little too amazing. And that's because there is a huge catch here, and it's hidden right in the name, Google Labs. So let's talk about what the word experimental really means for you. One analysis I saw put it perfectly, and I want to share this quote directly. It says Opal should be seen as a free research and development opportunity and explicitly not as a stable platform for mission-critical business processes. That's the bottom line. It's a sandbox, a place to play and learn, not a place to run your business.
So what does that mean in the real world? Well, it means serious risks. Volatility means a feature you love today could literally be gone tomorrow. There are no guarantees, no service-level agreements, and no dedicated support team to call when things break. You're basically on your own. Plus, there are data risks. Things like undocumented API limits that could suddenly stop your app from working if it's pulling in live data.
And you can probably see where this is going inside a big company. When it's this easy for anyone to create and share an app, you get this huge problem called shadow IT. That's when employees start building their own tools without any approval or oversight from the IT department. And that can be a security nightmare, opening up all kinds of doors for data leaks and other risks.
So, if it's so risky and experimental, why on earth would Google release it to the public? Well, this is where we have to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Opal plays a really specific role in Google's massive AI strategy.
Just look at where Opal sits compared to the titans of this space. You've got Microsoft's Power Platform, Make.com, NN. These are all mature, enterprise-ready tools. They're aimed at businesses, at technical users. But then look at Opal. Its target audience? Beginners. Its core strength? Being incredibly easy to use. It's not enterprise-ready, and that's by design. It's not even playing the same game, at least not yet. And that reveals its true purpose. Opal is a gateway. It's the friendly welcome mat at the front door of Google's entire AI ecosystem. They're attracting a massive new audience of non-technical users with a free, fun, and simple tool. The hope is that as these users' needs get more sophisticated, they'll graduate to Google's more powerful and, of course, paid AI services. It's a brilliant funnel.
Okay, so knowing all of that, how should you actually use a tool like Opal? Let's lay out a practical playbook for using it in a way that's both smart and safe.
First, lean into its strengths. It is perfect for rapid prototyping. I mean, building a quick proof of concept to show your boss or a client? Absolutely. It's also great for little internal productivity tools that aren't mission critical. Think an app to help you draft email replies. And finally, just treat it as a free education. It's an incredible sandbox for learning how to design AI workflows and get really good at prompt engineering.
Now, if you're in any kind of organization, you can't just let this run wild. The smart play is not to ban Opal, but to govern it. That means you get a team together, IT, security, legal, and you set some ground rules. You draw a very bright line. Opal is for R&D, no critical tasks, no sensitive data, period. Then you have to monitor what people are building to keep that shadow IT in check. And finally, have a plan. If someone builds something genuinely amazing, be ready to rebuild it on a stable, supported platform.
So, when we step back from all the details, what does a tool like Opal really signal about the future? Where are we all headed with this? Ultimately, Opal pushes us to ask this really big question. Are we slowly moving into a new era of creation? An era where building software is less about mastering the rigid syntax of a programming language and more about the art of description, of prompt engineering, of, well, vibe coding. It's a pretty fascinating thought, and tools like Opal are our very first glimpse of what that future might actually feel like.